Hi there. So I've had quite a few questions about the fact that I'm now shorting. So I just wanted to go over very quickly why that is, just to give you a very quick update on all of that. There will be there will be more videos to follow, more in-depth videos about each individual stock and company and why I'm shorting them specifically. So this is more just like a quick overview to let you kind of know what's happening. So, first of all, obviously, the main thing that I've been saying whenever anyone's asking me about shorting is eToro has made me do it. Now, obviously, because of my risk score, I've had to work out a way of reducing my volatility. Um, Keeping cash on the side was one way of doing it. However, obviously, shorting the stocks and the stock market actually kind of produces a bit of a negative impact on that volatility. So it seems to be working better than holding cash. Now, you will know that I hate holding cash anyway. I hate that kind of lost opportunity cost of that cash. Um, and I always look for stocks that are going to give us 100% returns. So obviously, I have a very high threshold of what I'm expecting from my investments. So a short position, obviously, you're never going to get 100% gain from shorting a stock because even if that company goes bust, you're talking about ages before you're going to get that kind of return to come back. It's very difficult to kind of anticipate that and to time that. So really, with shorting a stock, the maximum you're really expecting to gain is probably say 50%, which obviously in many respects is a great return, but it's not what I'm looking for, and so that's why, generally speaking, I wouldn't short a stock. There are other reasons for it, but that's the main ones. But in this instance, the fact that it's helping us with the risk score, that's kind of like the benefit for us. So remember that I'm only doing these specific stocks because I believe that this transactions are worthy. I would not be doing this just for the sake of it, and I would not be doing it for just for the risk score. Okay, the fact that these are stocks that I've specifically decided to short because I believe that we will make money from these transactions. Okay, so please don't panic that I'm going to lose you loads of money, or that I'm not doing my research, or that I'm doing anything haphazardly. Okay, this is all carefully kind of researched. These are decisions that I've physically made because I believe that these are the best things that I can do with this cash at this time. Okay, so just to go over them quickly, obviously we've got Nikola. If you don't know why I'm shorting Nikola by now, then I mean, you're really not paying attention. I've done a lot of videos on Nikola and Tesla and why I don't think Nikola is a viable company. Um, Obviously, hydrogen, I just don't think is going to be a suitable fuel source. Most definitely not for cars, potentially for trucks, but I just think that battery technology is just going to end up being a much more viable option going forward. And the fact is, Nikola, even with that technology, they still just don't seem like a viable company. The management in the company, everything linked to Nikola, it just seems dodgy. Um, and as for the valuation, I think there's too many people that are like, ooh, hydrogen's going to be the next thing. Let's stick loads of money in Nikola. It's going to make us rich when this hydrogen thing actually works out. And it's just not going to happen, is it? So that's that. GameStop is another one that you should be aware of why I don't think GameStop's a good company. There's lots of videos on that I've done, but one real kind of important one for me is GameStop is very much a US based company. Obviously, they've got lots of stuff elsewhere, but their main market is the US. Customers, if you're an investor in a business, you really want to be in touch with their customers. You ideally you want to be one of their customers. because that's how you understand the brand, that's how you understand the business and where it's going. I've not really seen anyone that's long on GameStop that's based in the US. If you look at any YouTube videos of investors, none of them are based in the US. If you go online onto Facebook and on a stock groups, if you speak on US stock groups, none of the US based stock groups will tell you to buy GameStop. If you post on there and ask, should I buy GameStop? People will laugh at you. Okay. And that's a really, really big sign for me that it's just not going to work. Okay. There's a lot of pumping of the stock at the moment. People are getting all very excited, especially over Christmas. And that could cause the shorts some issues. And hopefully the stock's not going to overinflate too much before it drops. And we'll hold out with that one and hope for the best that it's not going to go too high. I know it's going to go down. The only issue is whether it's going to climb too high first before it drops. So that's with GameStop. Kingfisher is obviously a UK-based or a European mostly based business. They own B&Q, Screwfix, and Castorama, are really the main kind of parts of the business. Screwfix is doing great, continuously growing. B&Q has been struggling, has now had a good boost due to COVID, obviously people doing their houses up, etc. And I think Castorama probably quite similar. But again, B&Q and Castorama, both very much declining businesses, not doing well. And the stock price is now back up to a similar kind of level to where it was over the last 2 years. So I think 200, I think the price is currently around 300. I think 200 is probably about a fair price for Kingfisher. And I think it's just a bit overinflated at the moment with the whole COVID thing. So I can see that kind of coming back down over the coming next sort of 5 to 6 months. And then the other two that I'm shorting are Ford and GM. Both actually for a very similar reason. Now, if you look at both of those stocks, both of them again are at a similar kind of stock level to the last 2 years. So if you took the whole COVID situation out and you look at the price of the stock, that's where it kind of would be, is where it is now. Now, both of these companies have got declining sales. Both of these companies have said, oh, we're going to release some revolutionary electric car vehicle. We're going to do this. We're going to do this in the future. Now that's fine. Okay, let's say best case scenario, they do bring these cars out and they maintain their market position. Let's say best case scenario, they maintain their market position. Now, the issue is they are still going to end up with declining sales because more and more car makers are now going to be joining into the market. And when you had fuel like petrol and diesel vehicles, the market size, it was a very difficult market to get into. Getting into new car manufacturers, it was almost impossible for a new car manufacturer to get in. That's going to massively change with electric vehicles, and I'll go further into that when I do a more in-depth video on Ford and GM. But needless to say, Ford, GM, and the other car manufacturers, even if they do end up coming out with normal cars that stay and keep their kind of market position, their market dominance. Okay, let's say, Tesla doesn't do as amazingly as I think it's going to do. Let's say full self-driving doesn't do what I'm expecting it to do. I still see these companies falling with their stock price. Okay, I still see these companies underperforming compared to where they have been. And that's maintaining like their brand awareness. So that's where I'm at with them. And that's my short positions at the moment. So I hope that's explained it a little bit better for you. And obviously, just a little bit of self-promotion here. I do it a lot, but I've got my premium portfolio. Just for those of you that don't know, that premium portfolio is basically what my portfolio would have been if I'd have carried on from September with just investing in the stocks and the way I wanted to do it. Okay, now obviously, actually from say about June, previous to June to September, actually my results were slightly lower than they would have been because of the fact that I was actively trying to reduce my risk score anyway. And then when we got to September and I had to massively start making even more changes, that was when I realised that I was going to really need to do this divergence. And I've split out my ideal portfolio. That's now completely private. Okay, so you won't be able to find that anywhere other than with my premium group. Okay, so that's not visible to anyone else other than premium members. And that is, like I say, the history of that is my current portfolio on eToro. So if you look previous to September, over the past 2 years, that's kind of like what my portfolio continues on to. And then my current eToro portfolio is kind of like a watered down, lower risk version of what my previous portfolio was. So we should still get good gains going forward. I still aim to be the best performing popular investor on eToro. I think I am one of the best ones, but obviously there's so many I can't keep track, and obviously eToro doesn't promote anyone that has higher than 100% gains. Therefore, obviously, it's quite hard to find the higher achieving guys and girls. So there we go. I think that's it. I think I've explained everything there. But obviously, any questions, drop me an email or message me either on here on YouTube, find me on Facebook or whatever. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.